The following podcast is a deep, shallow dive production.
Okay, let's go.
I seriously just love that lead-in. It's a very catchy little ditty. Hey everybody, Ray Dustar here, and I am back with episode 3 of the Deep Shallow Dive 712 edition, where today we are going to talk about Central Bank Digital Currencies. The acronym is CBDC, and this is, again, something that I want to get onto your radar if it's not already there, because I think in the next couple months it's going to show up and pop up big time. So with every episode, maybe we'll start off with a little housekeeping. And today, not much really to keep house about, except I just wanted to say if you didn't get a chance to listen to episode number 2, you should go and take a listen to that, because it talks about the BRICS alliance and the addition of Saudi Arabia, Iran, and the UAE to the already existing 6 countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And more than anything, just how this is turning into a global powerhouse alliance. All right, so let's jump into the CBDC. So here's the deal with this. We already kind of have a digital currency, and we've already gotten comfortable basically paying for things off our phone. I mean, there's Venmo, PayPal, Apple Pay, Cash App, Zelle. So we've gotten comfortable spending money digitally. I don't even think I carry much cash at all on me anymore these days, because I know I've got access to my phone and I can pretty much pay for anything that way. And obviously I've got my credit cards with me as well. By the way, I'm going to totally admit this. When I was in my 20s, I'd carry a money clip, and I'd always have 100 on the outside of the money clip. But underneath that 100 was not other hundreds. But when you pull out a money clip, you only see that top bill, which was a hundy. Hey, I said in my maiden episode I'm going to keep it real, and that's what I'm doing. Okay. But here's the difference when it comes to a CBDC, and again, Central Bank Digital Currency. This is a government entity, and so this is going to be powered on the blockchain. And if you don't know what the blockchain is, the simplest way to think about it is it's basically a graph on the internet where everything is trackable and traceable, really down to the penny and the microsecond and any transaction whatsoever. So you can truly follow the money. I'm talking literally follow the money when it comes to the CBDC that's on the blockchain and the potential for that. Now, let me be clear. Let me actually be very clear. In this episode, I'm not talking about the good or the bad of this. I'm just getting it on your radar, and I'm just helping you understand what it is, because it's coming, and there's definitely going to be a tremendous change in how we handle money. In addition to, I guess, the trackability when it comes to the CBDC at a government level, there's also programmability when it comes to this. And what I mean by that, and a great example of that would be, for example, during the pandemic when they sent out the relief checks and then debit cards to people, if we end up having another pandemic, wink, wink, and they do that same thing, well, this time chances are it's going to be sent out through the new government entity FedNow, and then that agency and entity will be able to trace and track and, quite frankly, potentially program where and how that money can be spent. And if not program, they can definitely see where it's spent. So just a quick recap on that. The difference then, if there is another stimulus payment that's sent out, chances are they're not going to send this out in hard copy checks or even debit cards like last time. Rather, they will have people download the FedNow app or some other app, and then that money will be distributed inside that app, no different than if they Venmo'd you that money or PayPal'd you that money. Again, the difference being that is their system. Okay. A little bit of an awkward pause there. All right, I'm a professional. Let me get back into this. I'd encourage you to look this up for yourself, because at the end of the day, I've done a ton of research into this stuff. And again, right now, I'm just telling you the facts. I'm telling you what this stuff is capable of. And so if you listen to what I just said and was like, no, there's no way, Ray D, it can't do that. Just look it up yourself, because it can. One video in particular that you should Google is Google the Bank of International Settlements, and you'll see a representative from the Bank of International Settlements talking about the programmability of the CBDC. His name is Augustin Carstens, and he talks about the nature of the CBDC and the ability to have an additional level of control. It's like Janet Jackson. Control! Get what I got. Control! Now I'm all grown up. That just happened, and I am not editing it out. Okay, so just like BRICS, this is going to be another topic that gets a full deep shallow dive. But again, the goal today, get this on your radar. CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency. I want you to get familiar with the term Fed now, because that thing's going to be, actually, it already did a soft launch with these banks. And this will be something we get into, like I said, in depth in a deep shallow dive. And then I just realized, like, for example, that interview of the gentleman from the BIS, I'll be able to put that clip in the deep shallow dive. So you'll be able to listen to direct stuff in that. And then at that point, hopefully I'll be filming by then, and you'll be able to see it on YouTube and see my pretty face delivering this insightful information. So there's a lot of great videos and there's a lot of great interviews about CBDC out there. Joe Rogan did a really good one with Tulsi Gabbard that I'd recommend you watch. And there's a guy named Mark Moss who I really like. He does a lot of good stuff, very insightful financial analysis and overall analysis in a very easy to understand format. So those guys talked about it, and really they both brought up one thing that is the biggest part of this 712 that I want to stress is this is what's going on in China right now, and this has been taking place since 2017 with a very centralized bank digital currency program that's been developed. And then the scariest part of that is they've linked it to a social credit score system, meaning that the way you behave and the things you do and don't do are directly related to the financial pocketbook that you have online. And if that is centralized and controlled, and the digital currency is centralized at a government level, and you're given a social credit score based on the things you do and don't do, and that is directly applicable to your finances, where it can be frozen, it can be taken away, it can be added to, that's a problem. It actually reminds me of a South Park episode where they were going skiing, and the ski instructor's like, if you cross your skis with another skier, you're going to have a bad time. And so this is like, if you link my money with my social credit score, I think we're going to have a bad time. All right, so here is the biggest takeaway of this. This is taking place in China right now, and so little information is allowed to leak from China. Gosh, I remember in the last Olympics, they didn't even let reporters into the country to basically witness what was going on. And so the question becomes, is this plan that is almost like case studied or beta tested in China, is this going to be rolled out to every other country? You know, I will tell you this, there are over 110 countries that are all in the development / testing / prototype and potentially launch phase of CBDCs in their respective countries. And I'm talking about United States, Canada, but then also Russia, Iran. And so it's pretty interesting. Every country, friend or foe, G7 or BRICS. Think about that. Seriously, every country, regardless of everything else that's going on, they're all working on the same thing. You know, these guys are all working on their own centralized Bank Digital Currency. That's been super weird to me. I'm not going to lie. And then that has me thinking about a bigger picture, which I'll share in another dive or another 712. But anyway, at the end of the day, as far as this one goes, CBDC, Centralized Bank Digital Currency, you've got to gain an understanding about it. If you have any questions, send them my way, because this is going to be coming in a much bigger way, and the way we manage and deal with money is going to be changing, and so I want you to be ready for it. All right, everybody, that's it. Episode 3 is a wrap. Remember, always call a spade, and we'll talk to you soon.
This episode was brought to you by Boost Liquid Vitamins. Wake up, take your Boost, start your day. Drink your vitamins, build your immune system with Boost. Available on Boost.com.